let's get ready for our speaker. Our speaker today. She don't get ready to call her full name. I'm not going to do it right now. Our speaker today is Fran Ward. And she's an active chapel member, artist, and novelist. And she's been a chapel member since 2005, and she served the church as a speaker, a teacher, board member, and as a board president. Fran is an avid supporter of arts and culture, very much so in the Hampton Roads area, and has traveled to many other countries to present her art and teachings. She lectures on the arts, and participates in cultural and spiritual changes while pursuing her own metaphysical path. She's the author of the novel Travels with Ellyn and Beyond the Drawbridge, and she can best be described as written in the latest review of Travels with Ellyn. Fran has endured much, and she has overcome much. And her personal story is about empowerment and self-expression. She shares what she has learned from the different spiritual practices and cultural changes that she has encountered during her travels. So I give you our speaker today, Frances Ellyn Walsh Ward.
Thank you, Betty. My name is Fran Ward, and my topic today is Spiritual Warrior Bootcamp. We're on the verge of a revolution. I am calling on you to attend Spiritual Warrior Bootcamp to deal with change and conflict. I'm calling all warriors. We are all fighters, but I'm calling on you to be more than that. What is a spiritual warrior? Whether you think you are one or not, you are. By warrior, I do not mean an emotionless brute, but a powerful force bigger than life itself. Quoting Russell Crowe's character in Gladiator, what we do in life echoes in eternity. A spiritual warrior starts now to echo in eternity. A spiritual warrior is a seeker of enlightenment. Enlightenment is a simple concept. It is bringing light to the darkness. That is the only way darkness can be dispelled. All it takes is one spark, and we are each a spark of the divine. We can light up the darkness. We can each do this. That's all enlightenment is. We don't have to be monks in a cave. Darkness is everywhere. Darkness is ignorance. Enlightenment is bringing light to that darkness. The time to prepare for change is now. By shedding light on darkness. Military recruits prepare physically, mentally, and emotionally. I'm adding another element, spiritually. Spiritually, our tour lasts a lifetime. These are lifetime tools. In Tibetan Buddhism, a warrior is a valiant hero who combats the universal enemy, self-ignorance, the ultimate source of suffering. The spiritual warrior aspires to enlightenment and helps others to achieve enlightenment by lighting up the darkness. The spiritual warrior has learned to let go with forgiveness and avoids chasing others in revenge. Unlike the soldier, the spiritual warrior is in touch with joy, sadness, and expansive feelings of the heart. He is able to share those feelings with others. The warrior knows about death and seizes the day, doing the things he wants to do now instead of waiting for later. YOLO, you only live once, could be the bumper sticker for the spiritual warrior. You're not the first I've asked to be warriors, and I wouldn't ask you to do anything I wouldn't do myself. I'm all in. Several years ago, I attended a workshop in Washington, D.C., The Common Boundary. It was a big spiritual educational event. My friends and I especially wanted to hear the keynote speaker Marianne Williamson, a best-selling author and speaker on par with Deepak Chopra and Andrew Weil. This was years before she became a presidential candidate. I walked down the aisle, leading my friends to the front row. They were horrified when I said they could sit there. They said, "Fran, you can't sit here." I said, "I can sit anywhere I want." Then someone walked over from the other side. She asked who I was. I get that a lot. I was reminded of an Emily Dickinson poem. "I'm nobody. Who are you? Are you nobody too? Then there's a pair of us. Don't tell." But I didn't recite that. I just told her my name and let her read my name tag. She went back to the other side and we waited for the event to start. The cathedral was packed. When it came time for Marianne Williamson to speak, it was that same person who questioned me who climbed the steps to the podium. They had to bring her a little footstool so she could see over the carved pulpit. As soon as she started to speak, I saw two huge angels, big wing angels, appear behind her, each holding an enormous sword with both hands holding the handles to their lips. The audience was spellbound by her inspiring and fiery address. After she spoke, there was thunderous applause. As she walked down the steps, I rushed over to tell her what I had seen. She didn't say "You're crazy." She asked, "How many angels were there?" I said 2. After lunch, I waited in the book signing line, but I didn't have any of her books to be signed. She said, "Oh, you're the lady who told me about the angels." I said, "Yes, and now I don't know what I'm asking, but I am compelled to ask, when I call on you, will you be a spiritual warrior?" She said, "Yes." We shook hands on it. I haven't called on her yet, but now I'm asking you to answer that same call to be a spiritual warrior. I have a better idea now of what I was asking her and what I'm asking you. This boot camp will start you on your way to cultivate your warrior spirit and accept yourself as a spiritual warrior to live with strength and humility to connect with the divine. What are the qualities of a spiritual warrior? What attributes or states of mind are necessary to become warriors of light? As warriors, we have obligations. First of all, the warrior is charged to protect himself. This is airplane logic. When the oxygen masks drop down, put yours on yourself first. You cannot help anyone if you are not breathing. In order to protect others, we have to protect ourselves. There is no shame in it. It is not selfish. Here are about 20 items on the Bootcamp checklist to be completed in any order you wish. You are your own honor-bound drill master. The first rule is easy: to be yourself. Do things your way. Don't live someone else's life. Have your own passions, thoughts, and goals. But have the courage to change yourself when necessary, to unleash your power on behalf of good. From Corinthians 15:51, listen, I tell you a mystery. We will not all sleep, but we will all be changed. Change the rules when necessary. Sit in the front row. Recognize that forces of dark and light are cyclical. Master them by preparing in advance. Things change. Know that a new season always awaits. Keep the faith. Stay strong in your belief of a higher power as the source of all from the beginning to the end. Stop overthinking. Let go and let God. When you think you know better than spirit, it's time to hang it up. That's your ego speaking. Believe in yourself. Follow your path if your heart is in it. When you follow your heart, you are listening and letting go and letting God. Trust your instinct because it's your spiritual backup. Don't worry, be happy. Philippians 4:6-7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Be here, be present, Focus on the here and now. Don't regret the past, but appreciate what is happening right now. Meditation and yoga enhance the growth of awareness to move past your fears and into your inner power. Be mindful. Forget about multitasking. Be like Dr. Charles Emerson Winchester III on MASH. He does one thing, he does it well, and he moves on to the next. Be brave. Surfers are familiar with the No Fear brand of clothing. It's a great logo and message for a spiritual warrior. A spiritual warrior has courage. Martial artist Bruce Lee said, "Do not pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a difficult one." You might face danger, fear, pain, and uncertainty on the path to spiritual mastery. From Ecclesiastes 3:1. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Press on when confronted with adversity or doubt. It doesn't mean you don't feel fear. It means you feel it and keep going. From Jeremiah 29:11. Trust God, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Recognize the difference between pain and suffering. Pain is from the inevitable hardships of life. Suffering is avoidable. Losing your job is pain. Telling yourself this means that you're a failure is suffering. Ending a relationship is pain. Interpreting this to mean you'll never meet anyone again is suffering. Put a different spin on adversity. Our deepest suffering is our greatest opportunity to learn about ourselves and take action to be better. Working through suffering is how you learn to be patient, humble, and grateful. Developing strength in the face of painful circumstances teaches you that you don't need to fear the natural ups and downs of life, but face anything with inner calm and peace. Be relentless, not harsh or inflexible, but by being persistent and determined to seek out false beliefs and attempt to fool yourself. Be patient. Patience is accepting that not everything happens according to your timeline. Allow things to unfold in their own way. When the right time becomes known, the spiritual warrior seizes the opportunity. Recognize the Buddha or Christ in everyone. See everyone as Buddha, especially difficult people. Imagine that any difficult person you encounter is actually the Buddha or Christ in disguise, put there to teach you a specific lesson about life or about yourself. Honor every individual. Keep sweet. Sweetness might seem weak or sentimental, but it refers to being impeccable in thought, word, and action. Be a person of your word. Mean what you say and say what you mean. The Dalai Lama reminds us, compassion and tolerance are not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. Kindness, compassion, and sweetness in the face of anger or ignorance require strength and understanding. Seeing the world from higher ground allows you to act and speak from a place of sweetness that benefits everyone. Be someone people trust and respect. Lead by example. Show the way. And create an environment for others to succeed. Love is the final quality of the spiritual warrior. To the spiritual warrior, love is all there is. It is the core of your being and the core of all other beings. John Lennon knew this. Removing the veils of love is the spiritual warrior's quest. I'll repeat that. Removing the veils of love is the spiritual warrior's quest. Hebrews 6:19. We have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure, and enters the inner sanctuary behind the curtain. You exist with love at your source, but often it is hidden beneath anger, trauma, or suffering. Expanding the field of love for both yourself and others is the ultimate goal of the spiritual warrior. Love heals all wounds and can change the world. Shine the light of your love into the darkness of ignorance, not to destroy it, but to transmute it into knowledge. When you possess these attributes, you become a force for change in the world, fighting against self-delusion, fear, and ignorance, to be a beacon of awareness, bringing healing to the whole world. Act out of love, not fear. The opposite of love is not hate, but fear. Fear closes and contracts the heart. Love is warmth and openness to yourself, people around you, and whatever circumstance comes your way. If you're confused about how to act, ask yourself one question. Does the action you're considering spring from love or from fear? Always choose love. Do something you're afraid of every day. In order to be able to do anything courageous, you need to be able to act in spite of fear. Acting even when you're afraid is a learned skill. Maybe it's trying something you've never done before, or speaking up when you would rather be quiet. Whatever you're afraid of, practice doing it. While the movie Gladiator was made to entertain, Russell Crowe offers the perfect pearl of wisdom. What we do in life echoes in eternity. Start now. Set your own pace. Bring light to the darkness. Thanks for coming to Spiritual Warrior Bootcamp today. You are all mighty spiritual warriors.